Maxent, what is poetry?
Poetry is words perfectly knitted like cotton on a thick jersey. Poetry is life birthed in word flavors that don't take away but give more meanings to one's existence. But I wish it was a brand though.
What would it do?
If poetry was a brand, beauty wouldn't be determined by the angle one elevates their selfie or the thickness of makeup layers. If poetry was a brand, it would personify realness and not less dignifying actions for social media clout. I doubt if booty or nuts would make one attain social media following. If poetry was a brand, like a proton, it would promote positive vibes, you see. If poetry was a brand, a force of change would be born. Promoters and managers would promote scarcity instead of mediocrity in the name of who has the larger numbers, misleading the multiplicity of kids in the community. If poetry was a brand, sanity would reign. Adults would stop opening their zips in front of infants. At your place, parents would respect their daughters for children that they are. No father would see a wife in a daughter. The flame of culture would be ignited, and all would be united. If poetry was a brand, a neighbor's success would come first. No one would practice juju to bottle shrink another person's breakthrough. Miles, what do you think?
There is more to it than just bars, punchlines, and metaphors. Poetry is creativity of words wonderfully and undoubtedly being expressed mysteriously and unapologetically in a word that conveys a message that warms hearts and emotions. If poetry was a brand, it would walk its talks and not just to attend fame, but serve those whose best interests at heart. If poetry was a brand, it would have served the best words. Words that healed troubled hearts. Words that brought hope to a mother who held a dying child in her arms. Words that brought peace upon couples that had differences. It would
Anybody hear me? Please give me a comment if you can hear me. Oh, there is no sound. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. How about now? Is my sound back? Somebody confirm with me if there's sound. Is my sound back, people? Is there sound? Somebody give me a comment. Please let me know if you can hear me. Share the video, invite those who care about React. Let us know. Richard Piri, thank you so much for that comment. I did not know there was no sound. All right, we have Pastor Ugo Amaechi from Lagos, Nigeria says, yes, it's okay now. Thank you so much, Pastor Ugo. Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much. Richard Piri, thank you so much for that feedback. Please, guys, share this video. Invite those who care about. Let's discuss the power of debt and how we can leverage debt, of course, to our advantage. Share the video, like, comment, invite as many people as you possibly can. Please share the video and comment, ask questions. I'll be taking in questions, all right? I'll be taking in questions to address this issue of debt. So my name is Shadwick. I'm a qualified chartered accountant, certified financial analyst, investment and financial analyst. And I'll be happy to take you through this presentation of how you can leverage debt to your advantage. So in this presentation, I want to mention from the outset, people here, that debt can be a powerful financial tool when used strategically and responsibly. Now, in this presentation, I'm going to explore the concept of leveraging the power of debt. All right. So we are going to use the power of debt to maximize our financial growth. So you want to grow financially. You have a business running, all right? And now you are scared of contracting debt, or maybe you are contemplating on getting debt. So how can you leverage the power of debt to advantage? So I'm going to give you three scenarios in this presentation. I'm going to give you three scenarios of different people: person one, person two, person three, and person four. And we're going to explain how these persons, all right, each are going to leverage the power of debt to their own advantage with practical examples. So thank you so very much for joining me. It is an honor to have all of you share the video, comment, like, react, and invite those you care about. So let's get started. Like I said earlier, in this presentation, we are looking at, of course, how we can leverage debt to our advantage. So we are going to distinguish between good debt and bad debt. Now, we're also going to discuss tax implications and analyze return on investment, the ROI. We hear lots of people talk about debt, millionaires talk about debt, billionaires talk about debt, and the tax savings that come with debt. So you are an SME, you're just getting started. How can you leverage the power of debt to your advantage? What tax benefits can you qualify if you contract debt and you use it well? Like we said, if you use debt responsibly, you can leverage its power to maximize your financial growth. If you use debt wrongly, it can let you sink down in cycles of debt and your life will be miserable. So it's extremely important we understand that debt is an instrument that can be used to improve your life, but at the same time, it can be used to mess up your life. So what we want in this presentation is to bring to you how debt can be used to improve your life and how it can be used at the same time to mess up your life. Good debt and bad debt. So now, debt refers to borrowed money that must be repaid over time with interest. All right. Now, it allows individuals and businesses to access funds for various purposes. So, if you're running a business, you may get debt because you want to fund your business. Some people get debt because they want to buy a vehicle, some because they want to complete their house, some because they want to invest in some project they like. So, debt can be used for different things. Now, there's something I want to mention to you that when you owe people, you should know you are a slave. But because you are paying two types of interest. You are paying the person that you owe. If you got money from the bank, you are paying the bank and you are paying the person that put money in the bank because the bank does not give you their money. The bank will get money from those that are saving. Those that have got no use for the money, they take the money to the bank and then the bank gets that money and multiplies it and gives a tiny interest to those who save the money. So when you borrow money from the bank, you pay two types of interest: the bank and the one who saved the bank. This is why debt is not a very good thing if you have no plan. It can mess your life up. It can lead to depression if you misuse it. But at the same time, if you apply the principles we're going to discuss throughout this presentation, the examples we'll give, debt can be such a beautiful thing to have. It can change your life. It can be like that sunny day you've been waiting for in your life and in your business. So I want you to pay attention, people, and ask questions as we progress. Share your contributions and what you think. I'll be more than happy to be able to respond to as many people as I possibly can. Please comment, like, react, share with those who care about, tag somebody you care about, because this is an issue that affects a lot of us. So like I said earlier, in this presentation, we are going to be looking at good debt and bad debt. And then we are going to do some case studies of different individuals. I'm going to give you case studies and calculations with numbers that are practical for you to see how debt can change your life and how it can mess up your life so that you can know what to do before you contract debt. So let's move into the difference between good debt and bad debt. All right. Please tag somebody, comment, share, invite somebody you care about. So, what is the difference here between good debt and bad debt? Now, if you look at your screen, on top you can see there's good debt. Okay. Good debt is utilized to acquire assets that appreciate or generate income. All right. Good debt, of course, can provide long term financial benefits and opportunities for growth to your business. Examples include mortgages for rental properties, student loans for education, and all sorts of stuff. Let me give you an example of what good debt could look like. Okay. Let me give you just a brief example of what good debt is going to look like for somebody who's about to contract debt. So let me give you an example now of what good debt is likely to look like. So let me just do this. Let me share my screen here. Let me draw something here for you to see what good debt is going to look like. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see, of course, what good debt is most likely to look like. Now, that's my screen there. Let me give you an example of what good debt could look like. So just a first example. So let's say we have two people here. Okay, this is what good debt will look like. Let's say you have $1 million today. All right, you have $1 million right now. Today, this is the money that you have. Now, this $1 million, let's just face people. You can, if you're going to invest into real estate, what's going to happen is that you can only buy two houses, all right, with $1 million. You can buy two houses, and each house is going to be worth about $500,000. All right, that's what you can do with $1 million. You buy these two houses here, all right, and these two houses, each house is worth 500,000 US dollars. Now, do you know what has happened here? Because houses and land, they appreciate in value with the passage of time. So in 10 years time, we are going to see that these two houses are going to be worth $1 million each. All right, each house in 10 years time is going to be worth $1 million each. Now notice, in 10 years time, you're going to have now how many? You're going to have $2 million worth of what? Worth of assets. That's a good thing. All right, now let's imagine somebody is going to use debt for a mortgage. How can they leverage the power of debt to their advantage? Instead of using your $1 million here, all right, to build these two houses for yourself and then put them on rent, to take about 10 years for them to come to about $1 million each, you can do this. Most banks, they give you, they build a house for you if you pay a down payment of 20%. They give you 20 to 30%. So for argument's sake, I'm going to use 20%. So let's say you go to the bank and then you tell the bank, you know what, I want to build houses and I want to make a deposit of 20% on each house. You want to build houses worth $500,000 each. You know what you can do? You can build 5 houses of that amount. 5 houses of that amount. Do you know how you can do that 5 houses? Partly because they're going to give the bank 20% deposit on each house, so that each house is $500,000, $500,000. Another one is $500,000. Look at that. 5. This one also is 500. This one also is 500. So you've paid a deposit of 500, 500, and 500. So let me repeat that. Each house is worth 500,000 US dollars. But what you have done from your 1 million, you've simply paid 20%. All right. So this 1 million, if you divide into by 20%, you can pay 5 deposits. You can make 5 deposits to the bank, and then the bank can build for you 5 houses. In 10 years' time, these houses are going to be worth $1 million each. All right, which means in 10 years' time, you're going to have assets worth how much? 5 million. That's smart. That's very smart. Now, remember, you have another balance of 500,000 remaining because this money is increasing every year, every year. Now you can now go to the bank and ask for a loan from the bank because now you own 5 houses. All right, you own 5 houses. So now you can go back to the bank and say, you know what? I have 5 houses to use as collateral for you to give me, debt. The banks, they love debt. They love people borrow money from them, and they love to see that you have cash flow coming in and you have assets. So you use these assets as your collateral to get a loan from the bank now to build more debt. So on each house, you can get a loan to build you another house, to build you another house, to build you another house. So before you know it, you have a whole fleet of houses to your name. What have you done? You've just leveraged debt to your advantage. So you are by far better than this guy who got his $1 million and built 2 houses only. You, what have you done? Instead of using the entire 1 million, you've gone to the bank, you've made a deposit of 20% on each house so that the bank can build a house for you worth 500,000. They build five for you. Those five are your houses. You put them on rental. People are renting, they're paying you rentals. All right. That's when you're paying the bank. So you own five houses. And then you go back to the bank, you get a much more bigger loan for each of these houses and construct more houses. Now that's smart, people. That's smart. That's just a simple example to start with of how you can leverage debt to your advantage. Tell me how you are finding this information, people. That's just one example. So, if we go down the road, you're going to see these houses are going to be worth over 10 million US dollars in a short period of time because you've leveraged debt to your advantage. So, each house you've built using 20% only instead of using $1 million, you just use 20% of your money you've built the debt. So that's why the problem, that's why the beauty comes in and talk about how can we leverage the power of debt. Now, this is what we call good debt. Tell me, people, if you like that. Tell me how you find that information. Share, tag somebody, please invite somebody you care about. Now, let me go to our chosen motion for the night. Like we said, we have given you an example of what a good debt could look like. Like I said, an example would include a mortgage for rental properties, student loans for education, and stuff like that. Those are good debts because you're getting a debt which is going to bring in more money. So you can see how quickly you can have houses with just 1 million US dollars. You can multiply that money as quickly as you possibly could have imagined. That's the power of good debt. Now, how about bad debt? Now, bad debt is incurred for consumption. It's like somebody goes to the bank, they get a loan, they buy a car. That's a bad debt because a car is a liability. You go to the bank, all right? You get a loan, you build a house, you start living in the house. If you are living in the house, it's not an asset, it's a liability because it needs maintenance, insurance, and all these other costs that come with owning your own property. That's a bad debt. All right. If you buy debt so that you can pay someone else's debt, or you get married, you have a wedding, that's a bad debt. So a bad debt does not generate returns or add value to your financial position. So your balance sheet remains, blank. A good debt improves your balance sheet. Like I showed you in that presentation, you have $1 million. You go and tell the bank to make for you five houses. You make a deposit of 20% in the house. Before you know it, in a year, you have five houses on your balance sheet. You get more debt to finance more projects because now you have assets. You are going to increase your balance sheet times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. In 10 years' time, man, you are stinking rich because you leverage the power of debt. So bad debt is where you get the debt. You go and use money for the wedding, or you consume the money, or you buy a vehicle, or you buy expensive clothing, Gucci stuff, iPhones, stuff like that. That's bad debt. Examples include credit card debt. That's a trap. That's a personal prison. Avoid credit card debt. Personal loans for luxury items. You just get debt to simply buy some luxury items for yourself. So what if you don't have luxury items? That's bad debt. So we want to avoid that mindset of thinking for today, enjoying today to come and suffer in the future. Avoid that mindset. All right. So now let's go into the other concept here. So we have looked at the bad debt example, a simple example, and the good debt a simple example. Now let's go to the benefits that come with having a good debt. What are some of the benefits that we can look at when it comes to having good debt? Now, good debt comes with its own benefits, people. All right. Good debt helps you to leverage other people's money. You leverage other people's money to your advantage. Good debt enables you to use other people's money, for example, the banks, the lenders, to invest or build assets. I just showed you an example of how you can use the bank's money to own five houses just using 1 million US dollars. That's a good debt. So good debt allows you to have a greater level of financial leverage and potential for higher returns. Imagine if you have five houses, you go to any bank that you want a loan. Any bank in this world would give you a loan because you have assets that are bringing cash flow. Real estate gives you cash flow, and those are the two favorite words for every bank. They want to see that you have cash flow before they can give you debt. The reason why banks don't give some of you loans is because you have no cash flow. Those two words are very important for every bank before they can give you a loan. So by using debt strategically, you can amplify your investment potential because you're not using your money. You are using other people's money to make more money. You are different from a guy who gets paid a $25,000, puts it into the bank at 2% interest. What is that? Your money is losing value with the passage of time, inflation. So you can't save too much money. Only save up to a minimum of 6 to 1 year of your living expenses. The remaining amount begin to channel to what income stream that are going to give you cash flows. So if you use debt, the profits that are generated from the investments can surpass the cost of borrowing, resulting in a higher return on investment. Like we showed you earlier, somebody who has used debt to construct houses gets more debt, makes more houses. In 5 years, 10 years time, you're going to have more profits surpassing the interest you're going to be paying on those particular houses. That's smart. Now, one of the advantages of debt again is, let me bring you back to the screen, people. Let me show you this. Here's something that a lot of people don't really understand about the beautiful part of debt. Let me bring the screen so that I can show you one of the beautiful things I love about debt. This one is a bomb. It's extremely amazing and fantastic. So let's go to this other aspect of why debt is such a beautiful thing. Now, here's what it is, people. When you go to the income statement, okay, you're looking at two people. This guy has used this money, all right, to build 2 houses. This other guy has used the bank's money to build 5 houses. He goes back to the bank, he borrows more money, all right, to build more houses. So when he builds more houses, he goes back to the bank, borrows more money to build more houses. So the houses are paying for themselves. Now, notice what's going to happen when it's come to reporting his profits. Usually, the financial statement looks like this. We have your revenue here, all right? So here, you have revenue. So let's say you have revenue here. And after revenue, what do you have? You have what we call the cost of sales. All right. So you have the cost of sales here. And then you're going to have the gross profit. You're going to have admin expenses. You're going to have distribution costs. Then you're going to have profit, all right, from operations. Then you're going to have what? Interest, all right, which is simply finance costs. Then you're going to have profit before tax. Then you're going to remove tax, and then you're going to have the net profit. Now, notice what happens here. The government and the banks, they support people who borrow money. Notice, if you make profit of, say, 10 million, all right, and your cost of sales in your operations are around 4 million. So you have a gross profit of about 6 million. You have admin expenses, maybe repairing, whatever it is, you have about maybe, let's say, 1 million. All right. And then you have this distribution cost, let's say about maybe, 500,000. All right. You have, let me just say 0.5. You have profit from operations. So you can less this one. You say this is a 6. You can see the 6 minus 1.5 is about 4.5. So profit from operations 4.5 million. And then notice, before you pay tax, the government says, you know what? The bank says, first of all, remove the interest that you are paying on debt. So you first come and remove interest. So if you borrowed, let's say you borrowed that 10 million from the bank at 10%, all right, you're going to get how much? 1 million removed from your profit. So you remove, first of all, the interest, the finance cost. If it was 1 million, you remove it. You remain with how much? With 3.5 million profit before tax. And then you charge the tax percentage on which one? On the remaining money. So debt is beautiful because debt saves you on the costs. If you are to pay the authorities taxes before the interest, it will be expensive for you to do your business. So the banks and the government understand that. They want you to borrow more money so that they can help you save some money from taxes. So you don't pay tax up until you've removed the interest from all the debt that you have. So your business first must pay the debt, and then whatever little profits remain, you can pay taxes. This is why people who borrow money for investment save more money in taxes. They don't pay taxes. This is just a simple example. Of course, we can go into details another day on the tax benefits that come with it. But for now, I'm using a layman explanation for you to just get it. That is how you save money on debt. So tell me, people, in the comment if you understand or if you are following what we're talking about. Give me a comment. Let me know if you understand. So debt becomes a fantastic thing. Now, let's go back to our presentation. Okay, so like I said here earlier, that debt gives you an opportunity to save on taxes. All right? Because certain types of debts have different types of tax incentives. And tonight we can't go through this presentation and talk about all the different incentives because it's going to be a short presentation. On a different day, I'm going to come back and we'll discuss other tax incentives that come with debt. But and as you can see from the example I've given you, we have deducted interest payments on the mortgage before we pay the authorities their taxes. That's a beautiful way of helping you save money on debt. So debt becomes a beautiful thing. Now, for those of you who may not really, be familiar with interest and tax implications, let me just bring to you this short slide here for you to just look at. All right. Let me just bring for you this short slide for you to just look at and maybe just use it to your advantage. So let's go here. So if you look at that slide, you can see that the interest paid on certain types of debt may take tax deductible incentives, like I showed you in that example. For example, the interest on mortgages for rental properties can often be deducted from the taxable rental income. Have you seen? Like I showed you in the example, you can remove the interest before you pay tax, which means you're going to pay a lower tax than somebody who did not borrow. Now, imagine you did not borrow money. You're going to pay everything in full. Your friend who borrowed money is not paying everything in full. You are paying everything in full because you did not borrow money. So all your profits are being subject to the tax rate. Your friend who borrowed money is first removing money for the debt holders and then pays the authorities what remains. That's the beauty of course, you're leveraging debt to your advantage. So now I come to a point where I want to tell you now a proper example. I want to give you some scenarios of different investments that are practical that you can utilize in your life. Let's begin with the first one here. All right. Number one, I've prepared a presentation for you on number one, person one, investment analysis. Please share the video, comment. Let me know if you are following people. It's important that I know if you are following. Please let me know if you are following. Give me some comments on how you find this information. Let me know if you are following. Now, let's go back to this scenario here. Let's explain it. Look at the first box. That's investment scenario number one. Let's say person one. This person, all right, goes to the bank and invests 20 million using his personal funds, like I was showing you. This person invests 20 million using his personal funds, makes a profit of how much? Of 6 million on that investment. That means his return on investment is going to be 30% because we say net income over capital employed gives return on investment 30%. How are we doing that? We're getting the 6 million, as you can see down there in the lower box on your lower left. We get the 6 million profit. We divide by the 20 million investment. We multiply by 100%. We get the 30% return on investment. This means this person who invested his money, $20 million of his money, and he makes a profit of 6 million, is going to make 30%. All right. That is his return on investment. That is 30%. All right. Now, when it comes to tax savings, person one does not have any tax saving. Do you know why? Because he has used his personal money from his bank account to invest. So he's going to pay more in taxes. All right. If the tax rate is 30%, you're going to now multiply 30% of his profit. He's going to pay more in taxes than the person is using debt. That is number one. So I want you to follow this presentation very closely. Let's go to person number two so we can differentiate these two things. Now, person number two has this story to his investment plan. Person number two goes to the bank. He borrows 15 million US dollars at a rate of 10%. And he invests 5 million of his own money. Now, notice here, both person one and person two have invested 20 million US dollars in their business. The only difference here is that person one used his money. Person two is using part of his money, part of the bank's money. Person two also makes a profit of 6 million, just like person one. Now, here's the difference, all right? The difference is going to be that person two's return on investment, you can see his return on investment is 90%. He's making more money than person one. Why? The reason is simple. Look at box number 4 from the top. The interest paid on board fund of 15 million is simply 15 million multiplied by 10% is 1.5 million. So from the profit of 6 million, person 2 is going to subtract how much? He's going to subtract 1.5 million, which will give him how much? 4.5 million. So if you get that 4.5 million, you divide by the 20, the 5 million investment, which because his money from the 20 just 5. The other 15 is for the bank. So we are using his personal money. All right. We are ignoring the 15 from the bank. So we are going to get the 5 million she invested. We divide into the 4.5. We have a return of how much? Of 90%. Do you know why he's having so much money? Because he's not using his money. He's using the bank's money and is saving on taxes. This is why you see on the tax savings, person 2 can potentially deduct the 1.5 million, all right, from his profits. So he's also paying lower taxes. Person 1 at 6 million and is paying 30% of that in taxes of that 6 million. Look at person 1 is paying 30% of 4.5 million in taxes. Is paying lower taxes than the person who used his money. Why? Because debt is tax deductible. Debt has got different tax incentives. So person 2 is making a huge tax benefit, all right, as compared to person 1. But again, if you look at the return on investment, person 2 just used 5 million of his money, while person 1 used 20 million of his money. But look at who is having more money. It's person 2, because he's saving on debt. This is why rich people keep on getting richer and richer and richer, while poor people keep on getting poorer and poorer and poorer. Why? Because rich people understand that debt favors them, because of those tax incentives and tax deduction that come with borrowing money. Guys, tell me if you understand what that is happening. Give me a comment, okay? Give me a comment. Tell me if you're understanding this presentation. It's important that I know you are following. Give me comments, people. Share with those who care about. Let them know what is going on. This is a very important discussion for us to have. So now you can see what has happened to person 2 and person 1. Person 1 makes 6 million. Person 2 makes 6 million, but person 2 walks out with more money than person 1. Why? Because of debt. Debt. Give me comments, people. I want to know if you are following. Share, tag somebody, comment, react. Let your friends know about this presentation. Now, so what happens next? Let's go to person number 3. How about person 3? Okay. How about person 3? How can person 3 leverage debt as well? Now, for person 3, as you can see on your screens, person 3 borrows 5 million from the bank at 10% to build a rental property. All right. Now, the return on investment is going to be 25%. So the interest paid on borrowed funds is going to be 5 million multiplied by 10%, which is equal to 500,000. All right. So it's going to be paying interest of 500,000 to the bank. All right. Now, if his net profit as well was 6 million, just like the other two investors, you are going to see that from the 6 million, we are going to deduct debt before he pays taxes. We are going to remove the interest of 500,000. So tax is going to be based on the 5.5, not the 6 million. That's the beauty of using debt. So you can see that the return on investment for person 3 is 110%. Why is he having such a huge return? Because in the first place, he's getting an incentive on what? On his profits. He's not paying tax on the 6 million, but on the 5.5 million. All right. Secondly, he's not using his money. He's using other people's money. So he has not lost anything. It is like other people just gave him money to build houses and to become a millionaire. All he does is simply look for land, pays for it, builds the house. Looks for land, pays for it, builds the house. Other people are helping him to build the houses. So the tax saving on person number 3, as you can see, is having a saving on the net profit. So debt can make you a millionaire quickly if you use it well. Banks allow you to go to them to get to make a 20% deposit. They build a house for you for $500,000. All right, as long as you make a deposit of 20%, like we showed you in the example. So if you have 1 million, you can make 5 deposits, which is equal to 5 houses. Those houses are going to be in your name. You can use those houses as collateral to get more debt, to build more houses, which you can use as collateral again to get more debt, to build more houses. Before you know it, you have a huge cash flow which surpasses your interest payments to the banks. So you have to be smart if you're going to use debt. Never use debt so that you can look rich. Don't look rich. Start getting rich. Do things that will make you look rich. Guys, give me comments. I want to know if you are following this presentation. Let me know you find this information. Give me some comments, people. Show me some love. Show me some support. I need to see some comments. Motivate me, people. I want to hear your views and what you are thinking. All right? Give me some comments, people. Share and give me some comments. So let's go to our next slide here. So now, how do we leverage debt for property expansion? And that's where our next slide comes in. So I gave you an example there. All right. That person number 3 borrowed money and built a house. He made a down payment of 20%. He built a house. He goes back to the bank, gets more debt, builds another house, which he goes back to the bank, uses it as collateral, gets more debt. Before you know it, he has a fleet of houses using other people's money. All right. So person number 3 and person number 2 are smarter investors. They are not using their money. They are using other people's money. Those people who can't invest their money, take it to the bank so that the bank can give people a serious with growing that money. And then the bank pays them tiny interest. So if you have $100,000 now in the bank, that money is losing value every single day. Somebody smart is going to go to the bank, is going to borrow that money, and is going to use it well, and is going to become a millionaire than you who saved the money. So it's extremely important that you understand why it's not such a very good idea to have a whole loads of cash put in the bank. Don't put too much money saved up because it is losing value with the passage of time. That's extremely, extremely important. Now, let me give you some comparison here for comparison's sake. Let's now compare the tax savings and the return on investment. All right. I want us to assume that the tax rate for these presentations was about 30%. So let's talk about person 1, person 2, and person 3 when it's come to how much tax are they going to save. Remember what we said? We said person 1 used his money. Person 1 used his money, his personal funds, to make an investment. All right. So he has no tax savings from interest. There's no tax savings. So the tax payable on the 6 million for person 1 is going to be 30 million, 6 million profit by 30% is paying a tax of 1.8 million. See how much money is paying in taxes. While he has a return on investment of how much? Of 30%. So person 1 pays more tax than every other person. Why? Because he's using his personal money. Look at person 2. He invested only 5 million of his money and he borrowed 15 million from the bank at 10%. All right. He pays interest of 1.5 and is going to have a remaining net of 4.5, which he pays tax at 30% of how much? Of 450,000 US dollars. So you can see that person 1 is paying more tax than person number 2. That's sad. All right. Because you can see person number 2 has a net of how much? Of 4.5. So if you charge tax on the 4.5, it's going to be lower than 1.8 million. Look at person number 3. Person number 3 borrows 5 million at 10%, builds rental property. He pays interest of 500,000 US dollars. He saves in taxes how much? $150,000 in taxes. So you can see person 2 also is saving how much? $450,000 in taxes. Person 1 is not saving anything in taxes because he's using his money. Person 2 and person 3 are saving money in taxes. Person 1 saves 450. That is 30% of the 1.5 million is paying for interest. He saves $450,000 in taxes. Person 2 saves how much? He saves 30% of how much? Of 500,000. That is about $150,000 in taxes. Person 1 is not saving anything. So person 2 and person 3 are more likely to become richer than person 1 because they are using debt to their advantage. They are not borrowing to go and build houses, to go and take their girlfriends out, to go and buy cars, to build houses for staying in. No, they are building houses for rentals because they want cash flow. These two must be your 2 favorite words in the finance world: cash and flow. Cash and flow. Those are the 2 words. Guys, give me comments. Simply type cash flow. Say, I will focus on cash flow. Give me a comment and tell me that I will focus on cash flow. Cash flow. All right. Somebody give me hashtag cash flow, because these two are the two important words if you're going to improve your financial life. Cash flow. Do things that bring cash in your life. That bring cash in your life. So cash flow. Very important. So now you can see from here, guys, that person one, he has owed this money, is not owing anybody, but at the end of the day, is the one who's not making more because his return on investment is 30%. Person two is at 90%. Person two is at 110%. Person one is still stuck with two houses. Person two, he has hundreds of houses. Person three has more houses. So debt can help you, all right, a lot. So if you look at what we have looked at tonight, all right, we have looked at number one, we have seen from the presentation that person one who invests using personal funds achieves an ROI of how much of 30%. Person two leverages debt and achieves high return on investment of 90% after considering interest payments. Person three also is using the power of debt in building rental properties and achieves a return on investment of 110% after paying what interest. So leveraging debt can significantly enhance return on investment by utilizing what other people's money. All right, you can take advantage of the tax deductions. And here's the other way rich people use taxes. All right, let me give you another example of how rich people use taxes. Here's the other example. You can leverage the power of debt, all right, to your advantage. Let me give you this final example here. Look at this one here. Now, look at this one here. Look at that. So now here's another example of what the smart rich people do. Okay. So now let's say this rich guy now has a profit of how much? A profit of about now 5.5 million. All right. And the is about to get a dividend, say, of about maybe 10% dividend of this, which is simply about how much? 550,000. You know what these people do? They refuse to accept this 550,000. They say, you know what? Don't give me the money. Give me shares. So convert this money into shares. You get a script share, a script dividend, where you don't get the money, but you're given a share. Now, these shares are money. You won't pay tax. All right? Because once you invest in a company, when shares go up, there's what is called capital gain. For you to have capital gain, you must sell something. If you have shares, those shares, if you have that business makes a profit, you get a dividend, all right, you're going to pay tax. If you buy shares gain value, all right, that extra value is what you call capital gain. You pay tax on that. So whatever it is that you buy to sell at a profit is what we call capital gain. That attracts what? Attracts income tax, because you're supposed to pay tax to the authorities for spending money. Income tax is the tax you pay for spending money. So smart people understand this. They say, okay, fine, don't give me dividends. Just give me shares. And then they use these shares to go to the bank to get a loan. They use their shares as collateral because the bank will give them a loan at a very reduced interest rate. Right? So now, once you get this loan, you don't pay tax. You don't pay tax on debt. So you're going to spend this now money, this loan, to buy maybe houses, all right, to build more properties, because you're not paying income tax on capital gain. You are saving yourself some taxes. That's what rich people do. So tax is such a beautiful thing to utilize. Debt is such a beautiful thing to utilize. Don't borrow for consumption. Borrow to make sure you go and invest. So guys, this is what I had for you. It's a short presentation on how you can leverage the power of debt. Please note that the calculations provided are based on the assumption of a 30% tax rate and consideration of personal funds only for general investment purposes. All right. So just that. I'm simply using a 30% tax as an assumption. That's not the actual rate today. And I'm using a return on investment based on personal funds. Put that into consideration. Now I can take a few questions from you, my ever-loving, supportive audience. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you so much. If there's any question, I'll be more than happy to respond. Thank you so much, Vasti. I'm happy to see you. Senga, thank you so very much. It's always good to see you. Thank you so very much. I'm happy for those fantastic comments. Let me know if there's any question. Sipiwe, thank you so much to have you here. Thank you so very much. We have a comment there. Let me the video of comments. Verse says, I also think when you borrow, you have to look at numerous programs and services that can help you get a handle on your debt, including credit counseling organizations and debt relief services. Do your research first before signing up for debt relief or counseling, because some of these services charge exorbitant fees that might be better spent paying off your debt. That's very true. That's very true. I agree with you. Thank you so very much. All right. Hashtag cash flow. Yes, Pastor Ugo Amaechi from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so very much to have you on this platform. We are very, very grateful. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Tsenga. It's always good to have you. Brian, hashtag cash flow. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Brian. Of course, we have Lighton Mushanga. Thank you so very much. Thank you. There are lots of banks. Unfortunately, as a professional, I'm not supposed to mention them on this program, but I can give you advice. If you send for me an inbox message, I'll be happy to give you some further help. All right. Yes, Brian, focus on cash flow. Thank you so very much, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I see all those comments. Thank you. Thank you so very much. If there's any question, I'll be more than happy to respond to any question that you may have. All right. And let me know what is your takeaway as we go to rest. Senga, thank you very much, Mr. Ian Susu, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Precious, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Thank you very much. I'm making out some shout outs to some of my, ever loving supportive audience. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so very much. Senga says, I think also an interest between shareholders on one side and the two other categories of stakeholders on the other side, management and bond orders can be increased. Yeah. Thank you very much, people. Thank you very much for those loving comments. Senga says, in most corporate tax systems, debt financing is indeed favored via the tax deductibility of interest payments. In other words, firms can deduct interest payments on their debt from their corporate income tax base. When this deductibility is taken into account, the value of the leverage firm is equal to the value of the unleveraged firm. Very important. That's very true indeed. Thank you very much. You are such an amazing audience. Thank you very much, Senga Chichi. That's amazing. KK, always good to see you. Thank you so much, K. Benjamin, thank you so much, my friend. It's always good to have you here. Thank you, everybody. Is there any question, any contribution? I'll be more than happy to have you, my lovely Dorothy. Thank you so very much, my love. It's good to have you here. Thank you so very much, people. There we go. Isaac Banda, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yui Junction, thank you very much. Rating each loan you take out of your small business will be noted on your credit rating. Beware, this can cause your scores to drop. So before you apply for a loan, check with your lender to determine if the credit check performed to pre-qualify will affect your score. That's very true. That's a smart investor. Junction J. That's good. That's a smart investor. That's very good advice right there. Thank you so much, brother. That's amazing. That's true, people. Some films, some scores may affect you for a very long time. That's very true. It's very, very right. And this says eligibility requirements vary among lenders, but generally you need to have a strong credit history, meet a revenue threshold, and be operational for a minimum number of years. Consider all your debt financing options to figure out what's best for your business. You don't have to waste time applying for capital that you may not meet the requirements for. Boom. I like that. I like that. Lots of people are depressed because they don't consider if they even qualify for the loan. So they just go to the bank, going back and forth. First of all, check if you meet the criteria that are required for this particular amount. That's very, very true, there, Junction. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There are lenders who use aggressive sales tactics to get businesses to take out of short-term cash advances. These strategies can trap a borrower into a debt cycle with no end in sight, although cash advances do. That's very true. So thank you so very much. There are lots of amazing comments here. Thank you so very much, people. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much. What is your takeaway home? What is your takeaway home? Give me your takeaway home. What are you going home with from this presentation? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this particular evening. Thank you so very much. All right. I really appreciate. I really appreciate. So, guys, may God bless you. May God fulfill you. May you find love, peace, and joy. Thank you for sharing the content. Thank you so much for staying with me. May God bless you. I'll see you in our next episode. So, we'll keep on talking about debt. We're now going to talk about debt management in the next episode. How can you manage your debt if you have it? If you are in a cycle of debt, how can you come out of debt? We're going to discuss now how to manage debt and how to come out of debt in an event that you are now having to do with the pressures of me having being misused your debt. So we're going to do with how can you manage debt and how can you come out of those cycles of debt? How can you improve on your income base? So that will be our next station. So thank you very much, friends, for joining me. May God bless you. May God fulfill you. Have a lovely night. I'm very, very grateful that you joined me. Remember what we always say: you are not free until you are financially free. You are very right to come and join me for this particular evening. Thank you so very much. May God bless you and have a lovely night. And I'll see you in our next episode. Bye bye.